Hey, welcome back to Yours in Writing. We've had a bit of a name change, and I prefer Yours in Writing than Creatively Yours just because I focus on writing and not so much of my other creative endeavors. I might touch on those a little later on down the line, but for now, I'm just going to focus on writing. I am working on a couple of projects right now. One that is very near and dear to my heart is a true crime book about the town in which I live. There are some unsolved crimes, and so I am working on my book proposal for that right now. And I hope to have that completed by the end of January. And I'm going to start submitting it to agents and publishers, and hopefully someone bites and I get a go ahead to do all of the in-depth research and writing and interviews and all the good stuff that comes with writing a true crime book. More on that later. My NaNoWriMo project that I was working on as well, I'm still have a goal of adding 25,000 words to that. I was going to do that this month, but I have changed direction, obviously, to focus on this book because something else has happened in my town, and it's looking like it might go in a direction that's not really desired. And so I feel like things need to be, brought to light. And there have been a couple of podcasts and news reports, but nothing major. And so I feel like if I can bring the story of the entire town and the happenings within, maybe we can get some help, some outside help, that can lead to some cases being solved. But again, more on that later. Today I'm going to talk about something that I've never covered before for myself. I'm sure there's plenty of information on, floating around out there on YouTube, on WriterTube, in blogs and whatnot. But it's how to get started writing. So for me, I've always loved writing. I used to write poetry when I was in high school. I liked to write short stories. Not short, well, yeah, I like to write short stories. They never really turned out as good, of course, as, I wanted to. But I enjoyed putting pen to paper. And when I got out of high school, I put it down. And I just got caught up in other things, running around doing things I wasn't supposed to do, and being a young adult who was free, so to speak. So I didn't pick up writing again until I was in my early to mid 20s. And the way it happened was I had a heartbreak, and while I was trying to heal from that, I was at Barnes & Noble a lot, and I was reading a lot. And I picked up a book, and it was like a summer beach read type of book, and it was about a girl who was a recent college grad who got a summer job in the Hamptons as a bartender, and she meets a guy in the Hamptons, and of course he's highfalutin, snooty guy, and there are these girls that are like debutantes, and they're angling for him, but he likes the bartender, and she hooks up with some other girls, and they end up becoming bartenders for nightclubs, and there's some, shadiness that goes on, and then there's some deception that goes on, and then there's a snobby dad that doesn't think she's good for his son, and all kinds of stuff. But I read the book, and it took me 2 days to read it. And I was like, I could write this. And writing was always something that was really cathartic for me. So I decided to embark on my first manuscript. And that's actually what turned out to be my book, Life, Love, and Margaritas. I started writing it when I was 24, and I didn't publish it until I was in my 30s. It took me 9 years to finish, to get it published. I had finished it. I started writing it. I finished the first draft about 4 years later, and then it took me another 4 years to complete all of the drafting and do the publishing. So it took me a while, and at the time I wasn't really focused. Like I wanted to publish, that book because it was a fun read. The people that have read it, that I've spoken to, have enjoyed reading it. But that's how I got into writing, as far as writing for writing books, writing novels. I also went to journalism school to become a journalist. So in that endeavor, I wrote, I've written for online publications, I've written for newspapers, and that, lends itself to also to fiction writing. I enjoy fiction writing and I enjoy journalism. So the merging of the two is natural in my case. Some people prefer just to write fiction, and there's the weekend novelist, and then there's the career novelist, so I feel like if writing is something you want to do, you don't really need a reason. You just start doing it. A lot of times the question is, well, should I take a writing class? Or you don't have to take a writing class to start. You can just start writing. I mean, if you have a pen and a paper, you can start writing. If you have a computer or a word processor or a typewriter, you can start writing. When you start to get more serious about your writing, you might want to take a writing class, just to, get the basics down and get to know, formatting and publishing lingo. But again, you can find classes. You can find, you can take a class at the community college. You can take an online class. There are classes right now online that are super great. I had a subscription for Skillshare, which is a website that offers classes on almost everything under the sun. And they have a lot of writing classes and writing on different types of things: how to write, how to create characters, how to plot a novel, erotic fiction, which I've also written and published. They have classes on, I think they have classes on news writing. They have classes on world building. Any subject that has to do with writing, I believe there's a class for on Skillshare. All you got to do is go on there and type in, search what you're looking for, and it'll pop up. And I happen to know that they do have a 30-day and I think a 60-day free trial out there. There are websites where you can find discount codes, and there are also there are also podcasts that you can listen to that are sponsored by Skillshare. So yeah, there are classes. Another website that they offer classes on is a website called Masterclass, and I am planning to sign up for that website for Masterclass to learn from some of the greatest writers. Joyce Carol Oates is a teacher on Masterclass. Neil Gaiman, who wrote Coraline and American Gods. His books have been turned into movies and TV series. So they're actually, Natalie Portman is a teacher on there for acting. I think Samuel L. Jackson, Gordon Ramsay. So even if you're not a writer and, like, say you want to take a class about cooking or what have you, Gordon Ramsay, who wouldn't want to learn from the best, right? So look into that if that's, if you're wanting to take a class and you want to hone your craft and become better as a writer, definitely look into that. You don't have to do that from the jump street, but it's a good idea to definitely look into. Um, and there are other YouTubers out there who are have tutorials or words of wisdom, advice, things like that, who can point you in the direction of how to become a writer or how to improve your writing, things like that. And then, of course, there are tons and tons of literary periodicals. Writer's Digest is one. I subscribe to Writer's Digest. The articles in that are really, really good. And they discuss people who are, new to writing and people who are writing veterans and everything in between. So that's pretty much all I have for now. I just wanted to pop on and do a quick video and, touch base and just, share a little bit about why I got into writing and how I got into writing. I love telling stories. I love creating characters. I love creating worlds, even if I'm basically using a real world setting and renaming it. I love doing it because it takes me out of my everyday life. And right now we could all use a little bit of escapism, don't you think? So that is about the end. Please, please, please leave a comment. Click a link in the description box below, and please comment any questions or any subjects that you'd like me to talk about. I'd love to hear from you. And that's about it. So I will talk to you later. Yours in writing.